Welcome to New Hampshire Politics with John Burt. I am John Burt. Thank you for joining me today, and I have an exciting show with an exciting friend of mine, a guest, Don Gorman.
That's me, folks.
Yeah, Don, thank you for coming on.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. I love it.
You've been a huge mentor to me. Taught me a lot because you were up at the State House how long?
I was up there for 8 years, and I've been training freshmen legislature for 10 years now. As a matter of fact, you were in my first class 10 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you were one of the students there.
Well,
didn't know where the cafeteria was. Didn't know where the men's room was.
Well, hopefully, I haven't disappointed you.
Oh gosh, no. Well,
and apparently, I haven't disappointed the voters because they've put me up there 5 times, which I'm very blessed by them to give me such support.
Well, you do a tremendous job up there. I've watched you over the years from the gallery and talking, and we go over points, and for example, if you're mumbling, I say you got to speak up, and you follow those tidbits of advice very well. I'll have to admit, you really do. Yeah. So I have seen you blossom and bloom into absolutely one of the best speakers on the floor of the House.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
No question about it.
No, I'm excited, and I don't know how to ever say it without toting my own horn. But when people come from the outside, because when some people get up to speak, as you know,
sure,
20% will just walk out.
Oh yeah, they get up and leave.
And for some reason, I get up on the House floor, and if somebody's outside, they're coming in. Okay, what's John going to say?
Well, there's something else that I observe.
That's a blessing and a gift.
Yeah, there's something else I observe from the gallery. When you get up to speak, there's a hush that goes through the chamber. Yeah. A hush. They want to hear what you're going to say, because whatever it is, it's not going to be dull and boring.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I understand you have a little excitement running around the chamber now.
We have a lot of excitement, and I'm very happy to say, at first, I was on an island all by myself. I had a couple other representatives that were going to join me. They decided not to at that point, but 8 reps and others are coming out of the woodwork. To basically say, sorry, Mr. Speaker, but we're still going to continue to carry our sidearms as we are legally, constitutionally, and God-given right to do.
Yeah, I really have a hard time connecting that you're in violation of a House rule.
Yes.
And somehow that's supposed to supersede the Constitution of the United States and New Hampshire, and the fact that we are a state now that has constitutional carry.
Yes.
Which basically says you can lawfully, legally carry anywhere, anytime, except for a couple of noted places like a courthouse.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But even in schools, as long as you have a concealed carry license, the federal government does not have a problem with anybody carrying in a school.
That's right.
And I know of a few teachers that do. And a couple of years ago, I knew one student. He was a senior. The parents called me, and I said, look, I can't give you any advice. You need to call your attorney. Yeah. Run that by you. But they said, we are not going to have our son be a victim, a sitting duck.
Yeah. Well, I was up there for 8 years, and like I say, another 10 years in training. I always carried.
Yeah.
I always carried. And there was never a day I went up there I didn't carry.
Well, and that was during where the rule was you couldn't carry. Because they said that started like late 70s, early 80s. I guess there was a small incident where one rep says, "Oh yeah, I'll just shoot you."
Yeah, I remember the rep and I remember the incident.
And I guess I guess everybody was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, right.
And so they passed this silly rule that nobody enforced.
Right.
And because the other side of the rule, it says nobody can search you.
Right.
And I'm going, all right.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, the Democrats, why they passed this is because they want to, in Speaker Shurtleff, which is a great guy. I do personally like him. I don't like his politics, but I do like him because he is a fun guy to talk with. But they passed it so that way they could go back to their constituents and say, hey, look, we're gun free.
Yeah.
And for some reason, some of them like that.
Yeah.
And but this is the first time he's had some challenges, and so I'm telling him I'm still going to carry. And I had 8 friends a couple days ago send out a press release, and they're going to carry.
I read that. I read the copy. If you get right down to it, John, you take a look at the basic fundamental thing: passing laws, passing rules, passing this and that and the other thing makes somebody feel good. The practicality is, if you have a lawbreaker, you have some deranged nut who's up there, nothing is going to stop him.
No.
He's not interested in the law. There's the old thing we used to do on carjacking. You pretend you're carjacking me, and they say, oh, a firearm. Oh, sir, do you know that firearm is not registered with the police? And you go, oh, really? Wait right here, I'll be right back.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's going to work.
That's going to work. My heavens, we passed a law to register those firearms, my golly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad situation that people don't realize how much lawbreakers do not obey the law.
That's it. Well, I think I was telling you earlier today, we're hearing bills now in my committee.
Yeah.
I'm on criminal justice on the House side, and a lady got up there from Catholic Charities, and she said, if you pass this bill, which I do support, it's to make children trafficking in New Hampshire a Class B to a Class A felony, which I guess is more severe. She says, if you pass this, there'll be a lot less of this activity in New Hampshire. And I'm thinking, no, I mean, there should be a stiffer penalty if you traffic children. But bottom line, like you said, criminals don't care.
Yeah. If you're going to be making money that way, you don't care about human lives at all.
No.
If you're trafficking children, you're a deranged nut.
Yeah.
You really are, you need to be stamped out is what really needs to happen here. But you think that's going to slow down a cut? If I'm getting $5,000 a kid, I'm going to stuff 100 or 200 kids into a box truck somewhere and drive them to wherever I can make my money. That's the only thing I care about.
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I care about.
Well, I just can't imagine the brain thought that, to make you do it, but,
Well, I can't either.
I think the person should get the chair, but but they won't go along with me.
Well, they hang them in this state.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Well, why aren't we hanging Addison then instead of instead of the lethal injection thing? But,
well, I guess they changed it to lethal injection.
oh. But we did have some protest up there. There was one group that, of older people up there that were protesting this rule change, and it's only rules. It's no laws.
There's no laws.
And it's Rule 63, but then, sadly they had some kids there, and, they don't know, at that age, the parents say, here, hold this, and they had some children there, please protect us, not protect guns, and other signs like that. So, and I never went and talked to them. I mean, I would like to and say, hey, look, kid, but I never would.
What, seriously though, what's going to happen here when I guess there won't be a session for what, another week, maybe 2?
Yeah, another couple weeks. There won't be any sessions.
But someday it's going to be here. Today is session day.
Yes. Well,
now what?
Jess on WMUR, Jess Edwards is one of the reps that became, he's always been my friend, but, I consider these 8 now my really good friends, that are willing to stay with me and say, no, we're going to carry. And, most people are still going to carry. They just don't dare to come out of the woodwork.
Well, yeah.
And what the speaker said when they interviewed him is he says, well, I got several choices, because they said, what can you do? He says, well, I can arrest them, and that would be speaker jail. Because
speaker jail?
That's the only thing I'm thinking it can be. And where speaker jail is, what the fines are, where do I send my attorney? Nobody knows. because it's never been done.
Speaker jail. How do I bail you out of? You're a friend of mine. I don't want you in speaker jail. I'll bail you out. How do I do that?
Well, I don't even know where to call you to send you to bail me out.
Do you have your Miranda rights while you're in speaker jail?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
No, because it's never been done. But it is in the Constitution that he can arrest. But then it also says he can have the Sergeant of Arms remove a member for misconduct against rules or whatever he sees fit.
Would you care to have me run by you what how that all works?
Yes.
Okay. It works like this. Technically, he could call it arrest. The authority of the speaker with the body, the majority of the body. The speaker is not an elected king. He is ruled by the majority vote of the body. But he does have the authority if a member is breaking the rules, disruptive, drunk, take your pick. He does have the right to tell the Sergeant of Arms to remove the member from the chamber. That would include the anterooms also.
Yes.
Okay. That is the limit of his authority.
So once I'm outside that door,
Once you're in the hallway, you're
I'm not
a
in
citizen who's a representative.
so I'm not in speaker jail no more.
No, you're not in speaker's jail, period. What speaker's jail?
They're saying jail, so I'm thinking speaker jail because the courts won't see it, so it ain't a real jail.
Well, the courts have no authority over it. What RSA are you breaking?
Yet no laws.
You're breaking a rule. It's a house rule. It pertains internally to the house. Yes, the speaker has the authority to tell the sergeant at arms to remove the member from the chamber. Yes, that he can do, but that's not an arrest. You're not going to court. You haven't got handcuffs on.
And if I understand correctly, they are not allowed to allow state police or any police, Concord police, on the House floor.
Absolutely. The state police, it'll probably be state police because it's a state house. State police do not have any authority to go in there and arrest a member because he's breaking a rule.
Yeah.
They don't. I'm sorry. They just do not.
No. Well, technically, not that I would ever do it, and I hope none of my reps would do it, but technically, if I robbed a bank and got up to the State House on session day, it's written where I would go in there and they can't come in and remove me, but they'll be standing outside the door when I get done. And, not that I would want to do that, but, technically that's how no power the state police have on that room.
That's right. And the other thing that a lot of people really don't understand, a lot of legislators don't understand is the fact that on the floor of the House, there is no law. There are rules. It is governed by rules.
That's correct.
Because we create law. We amend law.
Yeah.
We abolish law. So we're in the process of creating or diminishing law and its authority and its fines and things of that nature. So the House, the chamber, and the anteroom is governed by the rules of the House. The absolute worst punishment that can be handed to a representative is if they're disorderly or something like that, they can be removed from the chamber. And a ethics committee violation could be filed, and eventually through all of that procedure, the rep could possibly lose their representation, that they wouldn't be a House member if they came down through ethics.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Could they do that? Or could they just recommend that you step down? Because we've had Kyle Tasker and Democrats and Republicans, both sides, very bad misconduct.
Yeah.
Rep Campbell killed all those ducks drunk, and then got the police commissioner fired because he tried to cover it up down in Nashua. I mean, it's both sides.
Oh, yeah.
They've asked some of the members to step down, but they never could get them to exit, force them out, because from what I understand, the voters put me there.
That's right. That's right.
But wouldn't they be disenfranchising my voters if they said, well, you can't come back because we just don't like you?
Well, here's oh yeah, they can't do that. But here's the point. This is a conservative state by nature. I mean, we have a lot of people that own firearms and hunting and trapping and the whole bit, okay? They should be right now up in arms over the fact that this rule, not law, this rule to admonish the members and tell them they cannot wear their firearms against the Constitution of not only the U.S. but the New Hampshire Constitution, they ought to be up in arms. They ought to be on the phone. They ought to be on the phone. They ought to be on the phone calling their state rep and saying, this is outrageous. Every fishing game club in this state should be saying that on the phone tomorrow morning.
Yep. Find
Find out who your rep is and call them up and say, this is outrageous. You're backing John Burt and his right, his constitutional right to carry a firearm.
Yes, I agree.
I'm glad you agree with that.
Yes. well, not to get off topic, but you know what was funny is I do have a new an attorney friend, which I don't know if you know. I always say, now look, if I say a joke, you know, about attorneys, don't take it personal.
Yeah, right.
But he practices down in Massachusetts.
Oh.
And he was telling me, you know, they're pretty anti-gun down there.
Really? I never would have dreamed that.
So he's defending a lot of bad people. And every now and then, because he knows about New Hampshire's laws up here, you know, we're pretty gun friendly.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm just curious, you robbed 16 houses or 3 houses, whatever the number was. Do you ever go to New Hampshire? And he says virtually every one of them will raise their eyebrows and go, are you serious? No, because we don't know who's armed up there. They got a lot of guns up there.
Yeah, they sure do.
So here we're one of the safest states.
Yeah.
And down in Mass, in California, other places, I mean, they're being robbed all the time because... Oh, and he did tell me one case, and it was so funny, or not funny. A homeowner was arrested because somebody broke into his house and he held the guy at gunpoint a BB gun. Well, the burglar didn't know it.
Well, yeah.
Held him on the floor with a BB gun. When the police came, they arrested the burglar. And then after they did the investigation, and he says, well, I'm holding him down there with my gun and all that because he was scared.
Yeah.
They came back a couple days later and arrested him for
the homeowner?
Yes. Because he didn't, what's that word? You have to exit out the back door? We used to have that, but now we don't. We have stand your ground. So now you can stay in your home and defend it.
Yes.
But before, you'd have to exit out the back door.
Yeah, you were supposed to run away from the guy who was trying to kill you.
Yes.
I don't know. If I got a bad guy kicking my door in with a gun in his hand, I'm thinking to myself, turning around and running away is, all I can see is a big target on my back.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's the way to go.
No. Well, luckily, through lots of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees, the man was, let free.
You know, I want to get back to one of my favorite statements that I teach freshman legislators quite a bit.
What's that?
Okay. We've had gun-carrying representatives and senators up there for probably since they opened the doors of the State House.
Both parties.
Both parties.
Absolutely.
People carry firearms. They have for years.
Yeah.
For God knows how long, all right? So all of a sudden we have this rule that says we don't want you to wear a firearm or carry a firearm into the State House. Okay, fine. Explain this to me. What is the demonstrated need? I mean, do we have gunfights between Section 1 and Section 5, or what's going on here? What is the demonstrated need for that rule?
What they said was there was some schools, but they wouldn't answer who, because there is none, we've already checked, that didn't like coming with their 4th graders because there could be possibly guns there.
They've been coming with 4th graders,
Exactly.
5th graders, and 6th graders for the last 100 years.
Yes.
So what is the demonstrated need for this rule?
There isn't any.
And we have some children that are upset. I got a great idea. Don't upset the children. Let them go to the, the art museum or something in Boston.
Well, I don't think the kids know.
Of course not.
And I don't think they care. It's the few anti-gun, school personnel or anti-gun people, not even part of the school, that are complaining.
Yeah.
It's only a few from what I heard. They only got 1 or 2 calls over the last 10 years I've been there.
Do you know how many times I've sat in the gallery carrying? I always carry when I go to the State House, and I don't care who knows it.
Yeah.
I always carry when I go to the State House. But do you know how many times I've sat in the gallery while school groups of children come in?
Yeah.
Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them.
Well, bring your kid.
Nobody knows. Nobody. I'm not twirling it around. I'm not a cowboy up there. Nobody knows it.
Bring your kid to a Hannaford's or a Market Basket or a Walmart or a Home Depot, Lowe's.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that carry.
I do too.
I do.
Yeah.
I carry. And
Yeah.
whenever I go to them stores, I'm carrying, and it all seems to work fine.
Yeah. You're not carrying to be a show-off or break the law.
No.
What you're doing is you are carrying because, for myself personally, people used to ask me, well, why do you carry? I said, because I have a constitutional right to do it.
Yeah.
There are places all over this earth where they'll put you up against the wall and shoot you for doing that.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't live in those kind of countries. So I do it because I have a constitutional right, both under the federal and state constitutions, and I'm very proud of that. I don't make a big deal out of it. This is probably the first time I've ever told anybody I carry all the time in the State House, but now, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we got a couple minutes left, and I just wanted to touch base real quick on the wall.
The wall.
President Trump, the time this is released, it'll be like, 5-6 days ago, a week, that he did speak to.
Yeah.
I think when we're taping this, I think we're in day 19 of the shutdown.
Okay.
Could be day 20.
Yeah.
And, the House of Representatives, Congress down there, isn't going to budge, and Trump is not either.
No.
And in my eyes, we need the wall.
Yeah. Well, you cannot have an open border where just anybody and everybody can come in. They're talking about caravans with 5,000-6,000 people, 10,000 people.
Yeah.
There are millions that if they see that this just marching up and marching across the border and basically nothing happens to them, no punitive measures, there are millions that are going to come here, and they're all coming for the same reason. They're poverty in their countries. There are gangs.
Health relations.
Health.
Yep, health problems.
These are not legitimate reasons to come to the country.
No.
But over and above that, there are procedures to enter the country. It
Yes.
isn't like you don't want people coming.
Absolutely, I'm for legal.
Yeah. But follow the rules and the regulations and the laws and do it correctly, and then welcome aboard. Love to have you. But just marching in mass across the border, no. You can't have that. No country can have that.
No. We got to make sure our borders. And what was really funny is they had some tapes. Well, no, I know what it was. An interviewer on YouTube, I was watching it, said, listen to this, and they played some voices of supporting the wall. And he says, what do you think? Oh, I'm still against it, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you do know that was President Obama that said this. Oh. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're like shocked, and I'm like, there you are.
Yeah.
He supported it.
They're playing news clips of Hillary Clinton supporting it.
Yes.
Obama supporting it. I mean, right on down the list.
Yep.
But that was then. It isn't that they're against the wall. What they're really against, or what they really are trying to do, is to make the president look bad.
Yes. Yeah.
They want him to lose one so that they can crow about it. It's pure politics.
But I don't think he's going to lose. He's not a losing kind of guy.
Well, he's not the kind of a guy that's going to back down. And right now, unfortunately, what has happened is they have backed him into a corner. And
Yes.
you know, from my training as a legislator, you never do that. You never give an ultimatum.
That's right.
Never back the person into the corner. You always leave some wiggle room that they can save face and come back another day, and you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always. And this is not what's happening down there. Now it's it's gladiator school. Somebody is going to get carried out of the arena.
Absolutely. Well, we're at the end, and I just want to,
Wow.
thank you for coming on and explaining what, Speaker Jail's going to entail for me.
Hey,
which
I got a
guess is
question
not.
about Speaker Jail.
Yes.
If you're in Speaker Jail, who's going to do the hot dog day?
That's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll let me out by then.
I hope they do, because I
Yes.
like cooking all those hot dogs. I've cooked those hot dogs every year you've
7
had
years.
it. Yeah.
We've raised over $30,000.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you know I've cooked over 7,000 to 8,000 hot dogs?
Oh, yes. A lot. Well, thank you for coming on, Don.
Oh, as usual, it was fun. It
Yes.
was fun. And you guys in the gun clubs, telephones tonight.
Yes. Yeah. So until next week, have a good weekend. Bye now.